Way better.
Boomerjacks Grill and Bar made from scratch menu features a huge variety for all appetites. Voted the best patios in DFW. Visit any one of Boomerjacks' 5 convenient locations. Celebrate the big game with 59-cent wings and happy hour all day at all 5 locations.
Hey, North Texas. Welcome to the Fan Sports Show.
There was some misinformation that we got lost. We were having such a good time in the car, we said, let's just spin through Arkansas. If Monty Kiffin can get his players to buy in to what he's selling, then they're going to have success.
A lot of us were surprised by the firing of defensive coordinator Rob Ryan.
Well, I saw it on Twitter, and I thought he did a great job. I thought guys responded to him well. But I think with Monty coming in and implementing the 4-3, it gives the guys a chance to just go.
That only 13% of Texans have a positive opinion about Jerry Jones. That was a little bit of what you missed in the first half hour of the Fan Sports Show, but fear not, there are another 30 minutes still to go. Marcus Spears is sitting right next to me. He will join me the rest of the way here on the Fan Sports Show. Does he feel that the Cowboys' window is in fact closing? We will address that. Also, we'll check back in with Babe Laufenberg, who is down in the Crescent City. He caught up with DeMarcus Ware, who's having a bit of a position change this upcoming season for the Dallas Cowboys. And don't forget, it's not too late to send your questions in for Marcus Spears. We are going to ask Marcus a little bit later in the show as we bring in Marcus Spears right now. Are you ready for that?
I am, I hope.
You never know what but let me tell you, this man can withstand anything, because you're one of the guys in the Cowboys locker room who will always sit there and answer a question. A good one, a bad one, a tough one, or a silly one. You do it each and every day. So anything you guys got, he can handle. This I'm sure of.
I'll handle it.
You can handle it. And I think that you handle pretty well the expectations for the Cowboys. Jerry Jones said at the beginning of last year that he felt this window for this team was closing, and it got taken out of context, and that soundbite kind of morphed into something it wasn't. But then today, DeMarcus Ware is in New Orleans. He was on an ESPN show, and he mentioned the same thing. Listen to what DeMarcus had to say, and then I'd like to get you to weigh in.
The window is always closing every year. You have certain guys, you got to make business decisions. You're not going to have the same team. So whatever team that you have, that door is always opening that season, and you got to sort of like brace for that opportunity and sort of move forward. Next season, it's going to be a new team. We're going to a 4-3, new defensive guys, and, we got to be able to, seize that opportunity.
All right, Marcus, is that a fair criticism, fair analysis?
That's what I call truth. You're looking at DeMarcus Ware, he's in his 8th year. I'm in my 8th year, and we're going into our 9th year now. It is closing. I mean, this thing don't last forever. That's the first thing they tell you when you enter this league, that this is a short period of time in your life. And you got to kind of grasp and try to harness all those wins and all those memories and all of those things that you will remember for the rest of your life right now. So, I definitely agree with D. Ware when he says that. And you never know when that window is closed on you with that organization. I'm one of those players in that situation. I don't know if I'm going to be here next year, but I'll plan and prepare like I am. And then, once the inner workings are worked out, you just go on and you move on. But for me, going into my 9th year, I don't have a lot of shake at the stick and get this thing for a lot more years. So hopefully I can get it done soon.
We had Randy White. I know you know Randy White very well. We had Randy White on the show earlier in the week.
The Manster.
The Manster, who is one of the best. And he said he had the most wonderful playing experience because he played for one head coach, Tom Landry. Played under the great Ernie Stautner, his defensive line coach. He didn't have a lot of change in the coaching staff. You, on the other hand, you've played for Parcells, you've played for Wade Phillips, and now Jason Garrett. In terms of defensive coordinators, Monty Kiffin, Wade Phillips, Rob Ryan. I mean, that has got to be tough, these new schemes, these new systems. Has that maybe contributed to the lack of success we've seen from this Cowboys team?
We live our lives in this business with no excuses, and we always try to give examples and reasons why we're not having success or we're having success. longevity in anything. When you get used to a system and when you know that system works and the belief that you have in it, it creates success. I'm a firm believer in that. But you know, adjusting to new coaches and adjusting to new schemes, that's a part of the NFL now. That's as much a part of the NFL now as it is players being drafted every year. So, I mean, we just have to respond, you know, and we have to get in early enough to learn what we're doing and make it happen.
Putting it on the players, basically, because they're the ones who go out there and play each and every Sunday. Okay, now, you guys played the Baltimore Ravens, who will be playing the 49ers on Sunday for their second Lombardi Trophy in team history, franchise history. You guys lost to the Ravens. It was a close game, 31-29. Statistically, you guys were the better team that day. At that point, did you think the Ravens were a Super Bowl caliber team?
I always say this, G. You never know. You never know. Everybody in the NFL during the regular season is playing to get in. And once you get in, like they say, anything can happen. And I think this is one of those examples. Now, you can't knock them. They have a great quarterback, great middle linebacker, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed. These guys are very capable of getting it done. And I think it's going to help them in the Super Bowl also. So here we go. Yeah,
Joe Flacco has been amazing. They've been underdogs each and every game here in the postseason. Okay, I need your analysis here. I need you to put your analysis, your analyst hat on. Marcus is always ready, I'm telling you. Why can the Ravens win?
I think the experience that they have, the wealth of knowledge, the time that they've had to prepare for San Francisco. And I think it's a bunch of guys on that team that's saying, hey, this is Ray's last game.
That plays into it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think a perfect example is when we went to Cincinnati. Playing for something does change the mentality of a football team. I think they have that going for them. With that being said, the 49ers have a great football team, a bunch of young guys that can absolutely get it done. Their quarterback is playing phenomenal right now. Frank Gore has always been a stalwart in the backfield. You can go on and on. So this will be a great matchup. I'm predicting that this will be one of the best Super Bowls that we've seen in a while.
And you mentioned Cincinnati. I should point out the story that rocks the Dallas Cowboys this year, the tragedy with Jerry Brown and your teammate on defense, Josh Brent, involved with the accident that killed his teammate, Jerry Brown. Cincinnati was the game that you played immediately following that. Okay, you touched on it a little bit. Make your case for the 49ers. I know it's a tough transition right there, but make your case for the 49ers.
Well, I'll tell you what, the toughness of dealing with the zone read option. First of all, when you got a quarterback that can run a 4-3, and when you got a running back that has a wealth of knowledge, when you have these type of receivers on the outside, Randy Moss and Michael Crabtree, you know, Vernon Davis at tight end, these guys are real good skill players, and they can hurt you in a lot of ways. So I think they have an advantage there. And not to mention the defensive side of football. I think they're probably the best defense in football.
Okay, so.
You know, I agree with that when people say it.
Okay, fair enough. So then I'm going to put you on the record here because we're going to re-air this stuff on Monday because we had everybody pick this week. Randy picked. We had all the writers pick. I'm going to pick tomorrow. Who's winning on Sunday?
I think San Francisco takes it.
They get number 6?
I think they get number 6.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's too much. It's too much talent. It's too much for those guys to handle. Over on the defensive side of the ball for the Ravens. And I think on the defensive side for the 49ers, I think they'll create some plays for their offense.
And doing it with a young quarterback, too.
Absolutely.
Obviously, and you understand this, a lot of Cowboys fans are really frustrated. They look at Colin Kaepernick, a 25-year-old who came in mid-season, and they're taking this team, he's taking this team to the Super Bowl, whereas Tony Romo, on the other hand, a lot of Cowboys fans are saying they can do it in San Francisco. Why can't they do it here? It's not quite that easy, is it?
It's not quite that easy. And from a fan's perspective, you have to kind of understand where they're coming from, too. But at the end of the day, you know, when we get to talking about Tony Romo against quarterbacks in the NFL, let's go win, Tony, and all of that will be done with. You talking about one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL when you talk about Tony Romo. Kaepernick has been doing it this year. He has some time to prove that he can withstand all of the things that Tony has been through, and he's been able to withstand. But he absolutely, I think Tony right now, he just needs to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then everything will be done with.
He needs to win.
Yeah.
It's like Dirk Nowitzki. I can make that analogy right there. You talk about players, the best at their position. There's no arguing that DeMarcus Ware is one of those as well. Bit of an injured year for DeMarcus Ware, and he's going through a big change next year, going to make a full position change, going into a 4-3 defense. Babe Laufenberg caught up with DeMarcus in New Orleans.
Gina, this is certainly a city that knows how to throw a party, as they hold this little thing called Mardi Gras every year, which will take place again shortly after the Super Bowl ends. Also a city where the Dallas Cowboys have a little history. Troy Aikman got his first NFL start in New Orleans. That didn't go so well. Roger Staubach won 2 Super Bowls here, and that did go pretty darn well. All right, the Cowboys may not be here as currently constructed, but their bus is. That would not be a bad way to travel there, would it? All right, DeMarcus Ware is here, recovering from major shoulder surgery, and he's not done yet. He said today that he'll also need elbow surgery in the near future. Ever, the investigative reporter, I asked him the question that everyone else was left to only wonder about. Which shoulder did you have operated on?
My right shoulder. I had a little labrum tell you I had a big sling on it, but I mean, I've been, in rehab for like 3 weeks now, and I mean, it's progressing really well.
And what about the switch here? Obviously, have you been eating a bunch to be a down lineman now in the 4-3? You just eat?
Going from the 3-4 to the 4-3 is still the same. I was just standing up in the 3-4, still being an edge guy, rushing the passer. Now, every once in a while I just had to put my hand down, just different terminology. But at the end of the day, I played 4-3 in college, so there's not a big change.
Not a big change indeed. As I've said many, many times, DeMarcus Ware can play in the 3-4, the 4-3, the 5-2, or the 6-1. You call a defense, and DeMarcus Ware can play it. Gina, now we just got to get him a little healthier.
Thank you very much, babe. I think he could play in the boxing one. I think he could play volleyball. Any sport he wanted to play, he could do.
Freak.
He
He's
is
a freak athlete, man. You can do it all when you're DeMarcus Ware.
And this guy's a pretty good athlete, too.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Wife basketball, sister basketball. I mean, you gotta love it, man. And my kids on the way.
I was going to say, his wife is also 8 months pregnant. They have 2 at home. This is number 3. Something tells me all those coaches have already contacted the Spears family, trying to recruit them.
I'm their agent.
They're going to be tall, athletic kids. Okay, coming up next, we're fielding your questions. It's time to ask Marcus. Bring it on. There's nothing he can't handle. He's doing that when we come back.